Good morning, everybody. Yesterday was a bit of an awkward time for me. I ordered coffee on the 1st, and because businesses are the way they are, it immediately triggered something to print out a label somewhere in some far-off building somewhere. Like on the 1st, I ordered the coffee, and then a little bit later, I got an email saying, your coffee's on the way. And I'm like, oh, that's weird. So I clicked on the UPS thing, and it said, a label has been created. So, oh, okay. It is now the 9th, and the label has been created. The ink is dried. It's just not attached to anything. So that's great. I don't know if the coffee's ever going to come. I've not gotten an email saying, there's a delay or anything like that. It's just, and that's annoying. And then yesterday, my engine coolant ended up all over the garage floor. I'm hoping it is just a hose that has split or whatever, but I don't know. I was out and about doing something, and I got in my car, and a warning light said, do not move vehicle. There is no coolant in the system. And I went out and looked, and there was well below the minimum amount of coolant that should be there. So I got my way to a Napa that was maybe a quarter of a mile away from where I was, got the correct engine coolant and put it in, and then drove home. I didn't fill it all the way up. The engine was hot, so I didn't want to fill it all the way up, which is a good thing because the moment I came back out to make sure and fill it back up, it was all over the ground. So I'm going to have my car taken in at some point. That's another call that I've made that no one's called me back with. I called the dealership that I get my service done, left a message. It was about 3 o'clock yesterday afternoon, and I still haven't gotten a message back, so I'm going to have to call them again today, probably when I'm done making coffee. It's just not been a very good couple of days, and I think I still am. I've got Matt's electric car. I was gonna go to visit friends on Friday, and then Saturday go to a band competition. The Band-O-Rama in Marietta is happening this weekend, and the marching bands from high schools will be there, so it'll be really fun to watch marching bands do the marching band thing. So we're going to hopefully do that. It's just, I know the car will make it there. I'm not worried about that, but there are extenuating circumstances after the car gets there that probably need to happen, such as an outside plug at my friend's house, so that I can at least trickle charge it up. It's like almost like it's 1% per hour. So if I plug it in overnight, that's a couple of percentage points that'll get me to my parents' house. And then I can plug it in there, and that's a couple more percentage points. And then you go home, and then on the way home, there's a supercharger, and which is well within the distance. And I can just charge everything up to 80% there and get home, or 70%, or even 60%. It doesn't take that much of a charge to get home. So I don't know. Everything's just all over the place, and I'm a little scatterbrained. And yesterday was very disorienting because it's like, why? It started telling me it had low coolant. It's like low coolant in the reservoir, and I went and I looked, and I'm like, yeah, that's a lot less coolant than there should be in there. But there were no indications of a leak. There weren't any wet spots underneath the car. Yesterday was the first time there was a wet spot, and it wasn't just one. I mean, it went down the skid plate and came out in 3 separate weep holes in the skid plate. So I should be able to put the rest of it in and then drive to the dealership should they call me. I'm going to have to call them back again this afternoon. I don't know. I'm just out of sorts. I really am. It's just aggravating to me. And then Matt's, he's in, he should be landing in Oregon within the next couple of minutes, maybe half hour maybe. He and his father and sister flew out to Oregon. They're going to go out and watch the OSU or Oregon game. And they went out a little early. They're going to do some excursions along the coastline. He's going to go to the place where One-Eyed Willie's ship was launched, but this where the scene was shot, The Goonies, which is his favorite movie. If he had a favorite movie, that's his favorite movie. So... Plus, he loves Donnie Darko, but he hates the director's cut because it's too long and it adds too much stuff, he said. So I still haven't watched Donnie Darko all the way through. I probably should do that one day. I've got too many other things I need to watch over and over again. Another watch of Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan is due. So I've got too many things, too many comfort movies to watch. So, all right. So let's get this ground up. Yeah, I completely forgot to spray it down, but I'll just add that to the list of things that are just not set as a priority in my addled brain right now. I don't know. It's not foggy. It's just disorienting. It's just a scary moment. It's like, that car, I really like that car, and for the first time, I thought, gosh, if I had not gotten rid of my Subaru, maybe it wouldn't be as daunting of a task as this is going to be to get it repaired, because even oil changes are not cheap with that thing. So, which is just the way of the world. And like I said, it was the first time I said to myself, God, if this were a Subaru, it probably wouldn't cost nearly as much as it's going to cost. Because, here coming up, I'm going to need to have my brakes done. And it's not just a matter of replacing a couple brake pads. They replace the entire rotors and brake pads and change all of the brake fluid. So it is an undertaking, and it is an expensive one, and I'm not looking forward to it. And then this happens. And the thing is, it's got 87,000 miles on it, 40,000 of which was spent in Chicago cold. So that's probably a little more than I should have put on there. But yeah, so it's got 87,000 miles on it. So, and those are original hoses. So, it's just a matter of time, and hoses don't last that long. They don't. Unfortunately, they do not. Especially in climates, like cold climates. Hot, cold, that's really hard on rubber. So, yeah. It's been a disorienting couple of days. And then the coffee thing, that just aggravates me. It's like, you created a label. I don't know why I got a notification saying anything is on the way when all you did was create a label. And now it's 7 business days later, and, there's no notification and anything's on the way, anything's being made, So that, I don't know. I guess I shouldn't order coffee from Instagram people. Because it was an Instagram buy. I saw this, oh boy, that looks really good. That coffee sounds amazing. There's one that's a chocolate chili that was advertised, and I'm like, boy, I like those things. Well, let's give that a try. Maybe there's a little bit of a spice in that coffee, a spicy coffee. Ooh, wouldn't that be fun? But I don't know if that's going to happen or not. I'm a little frustrated. I'm frustrated at that. And now the car, so I'm frustrated about the car. And tonight is, and I'll get pictures. Tonight is a Porsche Macan EV launch. and I'm going to go to that. I'm going to go to that in his car. I was hoping I could go in my GTS, but it's going to sit in the garage until somebody says, yes, bring it to Porsche so that they can get it fixed. So I'm going to be taking the EV tonight, the Polestar 2, which is fine. You know, I don't mind that as much. It's just, you know, I like driving my car. My car is awesome. I love my car. Why wouldn't I want to drive my awesome car? His car is good too, but it's not my car. So that's generally what happens when you get older. You have a car that you're comfortable in. And he took it down to his dad's house this morning because they left he left the house at 3:30 this morning. And the plane itself that they were taking left at like 6:30 in the morning. So, which, dear Lord, isn't that something? I guess that's just water. It's just so crazy. Not ideal, not something I would want to experience. I mean, leaving at 7 o'clock in the morning is bad enough, but getting up at 3:30 in order to get to a place to leave by 6:30 is just awful. So that happened. And he took his car down to his dad's house because he didn't want me to drive down there and then drive back at 3:30 in the morning, even though it's just a 10-minute drive. Probably less so in the dark. And then, so I had to go down. So our neighbor, Dick, was very kind to drive me down there to pick up the car because it was basically on his way to where he was going this morning. So it's charging right now. Should be charged enough. Well, I mean, it's got 170 miles on it right now. Should charge up enough to where it'll have enough for tonight, and then it'll sit all day tomorrow, and then through most of the day Friday, and then hopefully it'll be up to around 90% by that point. I put it up to 100. Normally you want to charge, they say you want to charge it up to 90. We've been charging it up to 80% because he doesn't drive very far with it to go to work, but I've got it set to 100% charge. It's not going to reach that more than likely by the time I leave on Friday. It would be nice. I like to get as much juice out of it as possible, and I don't want to be punchy with it. I did want to stop one place to pick something up before I went to my friend's house because I wanted to bring him and his wife, who is also my friend. It's weird to say that, isn't it? It's like, here's my friend and his wife, when in fact they are both my friends. I grew up with him, and she's the one that basically forced me to move out. Because they were getting married. Because he and I had an apartment together for 2 years. I think we were together in 2 separate apartments for 2 years. And then he's like, I'm getting married. And I'm like, why? She's super cool. I like her very much. She's great. But it was just funny because... Yeah, I think she thinks that I'm just the person that the person that doesn't like her because I moved out because of her. But it's like, no, I needed to find a place of my own. And I did. And then I met Matt. So it's all great. Absolutely fantastic. This is the Peruvian from the Island Roasters in New Smyrna. New Smyrna. Golly gee. And it smells wonderful. Oh, and it tastes fantastic. I didn't have any coffee yesterday. I haven't had coffee. I had coffee. There was this really fun, and I didn't have coffee there. There's this really fun taco truck downtown in a park, and they had like a bunch of taco trucks. It was the tastiest pork belly taco I've ever had. They had this one had a verde smothered tamale that tasted awesome. The tamale was great. And then the place where we got the coffee families roast that I've got up there that I need to pull down and we'll drink tomorrow. It's so funny. They were there and they had more food, and I got a menu, and unfortunately the menu got stuff all over it, so we threw the menu away. But they've got so many baked goods that are from Colombia, a lot of cheese-based stuff with fresh cheese that they make. It was, and then they had these things. They were like this long. They look like cigars, and they had some kind of guava fruit in the middle. jam. And then it was like, it almost looked like if you go to a place and you get I almost said pepperoni, but if you get the pretzel breadsticks, the long pretzel, not the little bites, but the long pretzel, that looked like that. It had a nice darkness to them. And then they had that jam in the middle. And the dough tasted amazing. We bought a bag. The bag there were 5 of them, and it was the heaviest bag. They were only this big, but they were very dense. They tasted so good. And then he bought a cheese muffin that needed to be heated up. And we had that last night. It was really good. So, Coffee Families, very cool place. Dude's a salesman. He's like immediately telling you, this is Colombian, and this is only available in Colombia, and the Colombian is this, and this is something that we in Colombia loved, and it's like you just want to sit there and listen to him talk. It was really good. And then he asked his wife, and I assume daughter, may not be daughter, I don't know. I didn't ask. I know that the one person was his wife, because when we met them before and I bought the coffee from them, that was the dynamic that I saw, because she was like, no, you charge them this. You don't charge them that. So I got to tell them how delicious the coffee was, and they were all very happy to hear that. So that was really cool. I liked that part. So anyway, thank you for putting up with me this morning. I'm sorry that I didn't have a coffee yesterday, but yesterday was incredibly bothersome for me. I don't want to say nerve-wracking. I don't want to say horrid, because people have worse days than I had yesterday. But for me, it was just something on top of something else. I was just worried about this coffee for no reason. I mean, I wanted the coffee as soon as possible, and sometimes it just doesn't work out that way. And then I went to get a haircut and came back out, and my car said, do not drive, no fluid. And it's like, where's the fluid going? Because there's nothing running out of the bottom of the car. And I stopped at Napa, got the right fluid, put it in the reservoir, brought it back home, was going to apply the rest of it, and then noticed that half of it had gone onto the ground in the garage. So I cleaned that up, and now it's sitting there with the hood up. So just like my father would do if there's something wrong with the car. If the hood's up, that means there's something wrong with the car and you don't drive it. That's what that is. It's a West standard. I'm sure Brad probably does the same thing. If the hood's up, we're not driving that car, we need to drive the other one. So, and I'm going to call the dealership when I'm done with this. Probably while I'm editing, just so I can get something. Even if it's next week, it can sit there. It can sit there just fine. We have a car. I have a car to drive. It's not bad. It's no problem. It's not like I go anywhere, So the other car can sit there, but I would like to have something written down so that I know there's an end in sight. I hate the fact that sometimes there is no end in sight. So anyway, thank you for watching today. I really appreciate it. We'll come back tomorrow. I'll take pictures tonight of the event. It's a Macan, but it's electric. So they've taken a lot of things from the Taycan and applied them to the Macan, like the secondary screen on the passenger side. There's a couple of things, and I'll get pictures. I'm really excited. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's a soiree. They sent me an invite, and it's a soiree, and they said, dress nicely. And I'm like, okay, well, what does that look like? Not business casual, dress, not formal. They don't want black ties, but they're like, dress like, I don't know, I guess maybe you're going for a job interview, but normally, I've never really dressed up for a job interview. It's always been business casual for a job interview. There's been absolutely no reason for me to doll myself up to have a job interview. They'll either hire me or they won't. And it's never been a problem. So I can say that with much confidence. Generally, if I go to a job interview and I really want the job, I can express myself enough to get it. So whether I know what I'm doing or not. I will talk to you tomorrow. I hope you have a great Wednesday. I hope you have a great week. If this is the only video you watch of mine, just have a great week. Have a great month. October is supposed to be a nice, fun month that is a transition month from summer to fall. Everything's changing. So, it's just a month of change. So enjoy the difference, Get away from the mundane and enjoy the difference. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye.